Hey guys, so this is my second video of the day. All right, this video is going to be about Hollywood and how they deal with negative material towards certain groups. Now, I'm not going to tell you a lot about myself, but I will tell you that I've worked in the industry. It's the media. I've worked in the industry for, I'd say, around the mid-1990s, all right? So I've noticed over the last 20 years, there's been a huge change in the industry as far as ethics is concerned. Okay, they play this game. When I say they, I mean people who write the material, people who perform the material, casting agents, studio heads, every one of them from the bottom to the top. They play this game of where can we park our racist material at? Like, which group can we park our racist material at? And a lot of it is racist. Some of them is stuff where you wouldn't like for your group. I mean, you wouldn't, stuff where it's negative towards your group. All right. Okay. Let me give you guys a background of how Hollywood was like, the media in general was like around prior to the last 20 years. Prior to the last 20 years, there was enough of an ethical, an unspoken ethics paradigm that did exist in the industry. All right. I mean, there were exceptions, but for the most part it existed. All right. And then you had the blacks, the NAACP, the ADL, pushing their agenda, telling Hollywood, look, you don't get to do this, this, and this. This is racist. This is racist. That's racist. This is racist. This is racist. This is racist. And some of them, a lot of it was valid. All right. Of course, for any group, you want the best representation for your group. All right. So it's valid. Some of it was valid. All right. So the blacks go into Hollywood. They're like, we want this. Okay. We want you guys to depict us the best possible. We want you guys to give us the 1% of the tallest, best looking black and white males to represent us as a race. All right. Stop depicting us as prostitutes, criminals, gangbangers, people on food stamps and welfare, people with HIV, pimps, etc., etc. We only get to depict ourselves that way, but if it's only sympathetic towards those characters. And you guys know I'm telling the truth because it shows up in movies, on TV shows, etc., etc. All right? To the point where 2019, they don't depict black people outside of a model minority. All right? They're always lawyers, judges, CEOs, white collar people. They're always tall, good looking. The 1% of the population to represent the other 99% of the population that aren't tall, good looking, etc., etc., etc. Okay? And they don't play bad guys. They don't play the kind of bad guys where there is no dilemma as far as them being bad guys. Like they don't play bad guys in the sense of, hey, this guy is just an absolute criminal. There's nothing redeeming about him. All right. They don't do that to them anymore. Just like the way the Jews do with their image. All right. So these people, and when I say these people, I mean overall Hollywood, the people who produce movies, TV shows, they write the scripts, etc., etc., the casting agents, etc., etc. That's how they treat them. All right. So what happens to the bad guys? The really bad guys, characters, the butt of jokes, all those characters that need to exist in movies and TV shows and stuff like that. All right. Where is it safe to park that racism at? Where is it safe to park that negativity at, where the characters are negative, etc., etc.? That's the game they play. That's the question that gets asked with them. That's the game they play. I'm not lying to you, all right? I'm not lying to you. That's the game they play, all right? And apparently, it's safe to park it, with Asians. It's safe to park it with Latinos. It's safe to park it with LGBT, kind of, probably not these days. It's safe to park it with Muslims, kind of. They don't want to go full out on that because they could get killed doing it. All right, they could get killed doing it. All right, they don't want a fatwa, whatever that's called, on their heads. Depict them. So there's boundaries to that. But that's the question they ask. Where is it safe to park the racism? And this relates to Shane Gillis, David Spade, Adam Sandler, Seinfeld, Seth MacFarlane, etc., etc. All right? Particularly with the Family Guy. You watch that show, it's safe to park that racism with Asian jokes, particularly towards Asian males, with Latino jokes, particularly towards Latino males, with gays, with feminist groups, women. That's where it's safe to park the racism. All right? The only way you guys, all these groups, you guys got to fight them on it. You guys got to fight them on it, okay? The only way to fight them on it is to just protest, do your civil rights thing, knock their asses out, give them some kind of trepidation, give them some kind of consequence to not do that. And all these people who, like Dave Chappelle, like Shane Gillis, like all these people who are against the whole social justice warrior thing, and labeling social justice warrior is just somebody a social justice warrior. It's just a way to demean their these groups' civil rights movements. That's just a way to put them down. They're not social justice warriors. They're civil rights fighters. In the same way that blacks who fought for their civil rights were civil rights fighters. In the same way that the Jews who team up with the blacks were civil rights fighters. Okay? Don't have them tell you you're social justice warriors. All right? It's just a way to demean you guys. Okay? You're civil rights proponents for your group. All right? So that's the way they do it. As far as if you guys seen the last 20, if you guys been around for like the last 20 years, you guys know that, a lot, that the Asian Americans got a lot of the negativity, most of it anyway, most of the negativity, most of the racism, they shifted it from blacks. Well, they kind of shifted it from a realistic portrayal of certain groups, of groups, to just shifting it to certain groups. All right, they shifted it to Asian Americans. They shifted it to Latino Americans. They shifted it to women. They shifted it to LGBTs. They shift that racism around. Like if there's a negative character, a joke they want to put out that's negative, they will change the character. I mean, they will switch up the character. If it's a black character, if it's even if the news, if you've seen them swap out for other races that they know that they're gonna be safe with, if they're gonna do like. So what's the issue? What's the main issue with this? Well, the main issue with this is, from what I've seen, it has a detrimental social effect on every single one of these groups when they depict them negatively. All right? It has a detrimental effect. Think about that. All right? These corporations put out commercials for a reason. All right, corporations paid $3 million. I don't know how much it is these days. All right, $3 million for a 30-second commercial during the Super Bowl. All right, they're branding certain things. They're branding certain things as good. They're branding certain things that's bad. They're branding. All right. So what Hollywood is doing when they do this, as far as parking that racism, that negativity towards a certain group, and then treating other groups with the utmost respect, it's racial branding is what it is. All right. You're giving one group the Coca-Cola treatment, or you're giving two groups the Coca-Cola treatment, branding them as best as you can, giving them the best racial branding as possible, versus these other groups where you're just bashing the hell out of their racial brand. Bashing, and there's gonna be social consequences from it. Because people watch this stuff, they take it in, all right, and they take it in, and they're gonna treat people the way they see them getting treated on TV, in the movies, etc., etc. And the worst part of it is, these kids that have been growing up over the last 20 years, they're getting brainwashed from this, from the time that they're born. They're getting brainwashed from this, all right? And that's why I've said that the media in general, TV shows, movies, this is where the race war has been for the last 20 years. All right? This is where the race war has been for the last 20 years. All right? Because certain races are getting a ridiculous amount of positive shit for not doing anything but protesting how they're depicted in the media. They don't get, shit from being good people. They don't get shit from being, productive citizen society. They don't get shit from being the smartest part of society. They don't get shit from being the most civilized. It's the opposite. All right. Now, I don't want to just, bitch about black people and stuff like that. But I don't know if black people actually deserve all the good shit they got over the last 20 years. And I'm not saying that as a negative thing, but they need to just spread the love around to everybody. All right, they really need to just spread the love around to everybody. All right, instead of just giving certain groups, because you're kind of giving certain groups a social affirmative action program. It's what you're doing. You're giving certain groups a social affirmative action program, while these other groups, you're just blindsiding them with social debt. Is pretty much. You're blindsiding them with social debt, which should not exist in a civilized, fair and civilized society. All right? Now, I'm not racist. I don't consider myself a racist person. I think myself as a realist, all right? A fair thinker, a logical thinker, a person who try to be as fair as they can regarding how they look at society, as far as how they look at everything. And I'm putting this out there to you guys, all right, because it's wrong. All right, I've been personally trying to get them to not do that. I've been trying to get them to not do that, but as you can see with this whole Gillis situation, as far as everybody, a lot of these people in Hollywood supporting them, these people are just absolute hypocrites. Absolute hypocrites who essentially can't see other people's viewpoint outside of their tunnel vision of their own race, of their own groups. All right? As long as their group is doing fine, they don't give a fuck if they push that racism towards any other group. Dave Chappelle, for example. Dave Chappelle. All right? I've done a ton of videos on Dave Chappelle. All right? These people will excuse the message that they're sending out as it's such a joke. You can't take a joke. It's just a movie. It's just a movie. Don't worry about it. It's just a scene in a movie. All right? Why are you so worried about that stuff? But There's a whole entire industry around conditioning people to buy certain products. It's called advertising. And this whole thing with the media, with movies, TV shows, with jokes, you're advertising something. You're advertising an opinion. You're advertising, either racially bashing or prejudicially bashing one group, or promoting another. That's what you're doing. Don't lie about that. All you people are saying you can't take jokes, etc., etc. That's not the excuse you made when the blacks wanted their whole social justice warrior thing over the last 20 years. That's not what you told the Jews when they say you transgressed on their population with negative jokes, negative depictions, etc., etc. All right? So if you bent over backwards for them and took it up the ass with these groups, okay, you're going to be okay with bending over and taking up the ass with these other groups because it's just being fair, is what I'm saying. But back with this whole entire thing, guys, you guys need to understand how it works in Hollywood. All right, you guys need to fight them. You guys need to put your soldiers up. Put up the good fight. All right, because there is a war that has been ensuing in the industry over the last 20 years that isn't about fairness. It's not about ethics. It's not about putting out materials that's positive for humanity as a whole. All right? It's about putting out stuff that is either promoting a certain agenda for a certain group or bashing the hell out of an agenda for another group. All right? And you guys need to see that. You guys need to see that. All right? You guys need to see it for what it is. It is a race war. It is a war of some sort. It is a race war, guys. And there are people winning it and there are people losing it. You can see it in everyday life. You can see it in your social environment. You can see it. All right? I see it every single day. All right? Do not sit and allow, Dave Chappelle to do his thing. Do not allow Shane Gillis to do his thing. Do not allow these morons to make every excuse that they can make about how it's just a joke. It's not just a joke. All right? It's not just entertainment. This shit changes people's thoughts on you. That's why the NAACP, that's why the ADL have offices in Hollywood. All right? That's why these guys in the media do not portray them negatively at all. That's why they pick the 1% of the best looking, tallest guys, tallest women to represent them. All right? They're racially promoting their race. They're racially promoting their gender. And you guys think this is entertainment. It's not entertainment. All right? This is where the war is. So go out there, voice your opinion against these kind of people. Dave Chappelle, Shane Gillis, their supporters, their celebrity buddies who support them. All right? Fuck them. Say it. Fuck them. All right? These people do not deserve a podium for their selective hatred of some groups. They do not deserve to have a podium to make excuses because they're a bunch of cowards. Selectively racist cowards. All right? Before they put up these materials, they know where the boundaries are. They're not pushing boundaries. They know exactly where the boundaries are. They stay confined within the boundaries. They stay confined within the social paradigm of, you know what, I could park my racism with these other groups. I'm not going to park my racism with this other group because I know what's going to come if I do that. Okay? Their excuses are not valid. And everybody who supports them should be put in the same category as them. Okay, he got his job canceled All these people who support him, they need to get their jobs canceled. Make an example of them. Make an example of them so that they don't continue to do what they do. Think about it, guys. This is where the real fight is. This is where the real fight has been for the last 20 years. This whole industry is garbage. It's garbage. I've always said that it should be regulated by the government to make it fair for everybody, so that there would be a fair enough amount of everybody in back of the camera and in front of the camera, so that this stuff doesn't happen. Essentially, it's racial terrorism is what they're doing. All right? It's racial terrorism. All right? It's either racial promotion or it's racial terrorism. All right? And they can't, do not give them the opportunity to excuse what they do as just entertainment. It is not just entertainment, guys. Think about it.